There's been big news in the world of artificial intelligence, and we're going to be covering it right now. One of the beauties of being an entrepreneur is the idea that you are fast, you are sleek, you're able to turn on a dime when things happen. And one of the things that's been happening for the last year is this little thing called AI. My dyslexia jumped in. A before I, except after E, right? So I'm Scott. He's Dave. Dave, this has been pretty exciting stuff. And there's been a massive announcement when you just thought it couldn't get any better. And is this something, by the way, that is going to be like, they say that technology doubles every year, every so many years or whatever. Is this going to be doubling like every 3 months?
Gosh, it seems like it is.
It sure does.
It's moving so fast.
I can see us in an hour where the mouse will be obsolete because we'll just be saying, computer, the lithium crystals are not online. Can you please put them online? Yes, Mr. Spock. Scott, I mean.
Agents, and that is amazing. What's really more amazing about it is that by simply typing your idea for an AI that you would like to create, it'll then prompt you and ask you questions about more details that it wants, and then it'll get to work just creating it for you, which is mind-boggling. It's like having a top-notch software developer programmer right next to you, and you're saying, you know what, here's my dream software, or here's my dream AI. And it goes to work and it builds it, which is unbelievable. And so, you know, my friend and I have had these ideas for software that we wanted to create, but didn't know really how to start. We're not programmers, don't know what to do. And all of a sudden, this thing where we can use the abilities of ChatGPT, we can type in, you know, I would like an AI that does this, 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 and this. And it starts to build it for you like in real time. And that just blows my mind. So that's kind of the biggest, in my opinion, that's the biggest news to hit, is now ChatGPT is creating a swarm of GPTs.
Right. So
might be kind of scary too.
Like a lot of people are, you know, they don't like Apple or they don't like Microsoft, right? There's really no other choice.
Right.
There's Linux, but that's kind of difficult. So are we going to be seeing the advent of computer, I was going to say computer software, but I really mean like what runs your computer, designed by people that have no idea how to program?
It's very possible. You'll have all kinds of things, products, software, these AIs.
It's going to unleash our creativity.
Yeah.
Like I was going to say the iPhone, but really, you know, this camera, you can't see it, on my phone has really revolutionized everything, like TikTok and communications and news, for example. Like I see something happening, I'm filming it like in real time, live streaming on Facebook and YouTube, and I'm beating out the major news networks with it.
Right. And yeah, just like all the past disruptive effects like social media, the mobile revolution, now AI is disrupting everything. And so it's really interesting that they're actually going to have a marketplace for these AIs. So you could create an AI and either offer it to the public, or you could offer it only to people that have the link to the AI, or you could make it private just for yourself or for your company. So there is a lot of opportunity. The one I like the most, Scott, and I know as soon as I said it, you probably liked it too, is the one where only somebody with a link can use the AI. And what that means is we can sell it now on a sales page, offer access to it, just like you would offer access to an ebook or a video or a course. Now you're offering access to this AI that you invented, you created with the help of ChatGPT.
Wow. So let's take a couple examples, and one just popped in my head, and we'll just so we can just give everybody an idea of how this could actually be implemented. I
Right.
have a friend who does day trading, which means he will buy a stock. This is very simple: buy a stock, and then 4 minutes later sell the stock
Hmm.
because it went up half a cent. And, well, they just trade, 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 trade.
Right.
So one of the big problems, of course, is what they call algorithms, which are things that will indicate on your chart, oh, it's going to go up or oh, it's going to go down.
Right.
And so I'm wondering if I'm just because that's a massive amount of data, right? So to be able to just say to ChatGPT, figure out a way so I can tell when a stock is going to go up or down.
Right. Based on a formula or a trading pattern.
Yeah, like I'm even wondering, do you have to say that? Because it would go out and research it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and like I have some friends who have back tested. So they think, oh, if I do this and I do that and I do this and I do that, it should, tell me that it's going to go up. And
Right.
they do all this by hand. Like this is 15 years ago, right?
Right.
And then he said, I took my algorithms and I tested them back to the Great Depression, and they
Oh,
worked
wow.
in good times, bad times,
Huh.
medium, when it's neither time, it's flat,
Right.
all this stuff. So I'm just thinking, like, look at all of the stocks, or look at all the penny stocks, or look at all the options, in technology stocks, or in grocery stocks, or retail, or forestry, or oil and gas, back, to the year 1904, and then, watch for patterns, and then figure out an algorithm when all this
Hmm.
happens, it's going to go up or it's going to go down, and then tell me.
Yeah. That'd be
Because that's what you're
amazing.
talking about, right? Like it's
Yeah.
able to deal with massive amounts of data and
True.
then figure it out because you're
Yeah.
going to
And if you think about that, I mean, apply that to the housing market or commercial real estate market or any market. If you think about it, that'd be very interesting. There's something I want to share on my screen if I can.
Sure.
Um, Hold on one second.
Remind me to go back to the real estate market because that's a really interesting
Oh
thing.
yeah. Okay. So this is their blog post about GPTs. It says you can now create custom versions of ChatGPT that combine instructions, extra knowledge, and any combination of skills. And so you could say you could have a creative writing coach, laundry buddy. That's interesting. Ask me anything about stains, settings, sorting, and everything laundry. Tech
Right.
advisor, from setting up a printer to troubleshooting a device.
I
Game
cannot
time.
get one of my emails to work in Gmail. So I need that
Tech
tech advice.
advisor. Negotiator, sticker whiz, help create stickers. I mean, just it really blows your mind what's possible here. And this is basically you being able to create your own chat GPTs or your own GPTs, as they call them. And they're going to have a store, as it says here, that they're going to be able to spotlight some of the more popular ones and all of that. So it's really amazing what you can do with this. And so I'm very excited to be involved in that because we've always had ideas for software but we didn't even know where to start,
Right.
just
Well,
don't even know where to
usually when
start.
you have an idea for software, if you start, you've just opened up one of the gates to hell. One of my friends was tired of me complaining about podcast hosting in like 2007. And I said,
Mhm.
and he says, like, you should do your own. I says, yeah, but who wants to deal with a programmer? And he says, oh, my programmer, I can lend him to you. He'll do it for you. And, he's worked for me for 7 years. So I was like, oh, okay. Well, he and his programmer halfway through the project had a divorce.
Oh,
It was ugly, and I'm in the middle of it trying to get,
wow.
this whole thing done, and it's just like, oh, what a mess it was.
Yeah.
And then I ended up going through, so I'm half done. I need a new programmer. I went through 4 more programmers before I found a group that were able to actually do what they said they could do. And then
Mhm.
I was with them for a long time, and then I sold it. But yeah, so to me, it's just a nightmare to be able to just say to the chat GPT, please make me a program that does this, that, or something else, then wow, that's really amazing.
Yeah.
So is it called ChatGPT 4 or
Well,
Turbo or what?
it's just a new addition to the current version of ChatGPT. And I don't know how quick they'll roll it out, but it's right now they're just announced it, and it's going to be your ability to literally talk to ChatGPT and tell it what you want. And that's,
So it's not available today, but it's coming.
yeah, by my understanding. Yeah.
So if you're not into ChatGPT, you should sign up and join, and then you should play around with it and try and figure out some stuff. Watch some YouTube video. This is one of the things. So one of my pet peeves is when people say, "Well, you need to go to university to be able to learn this stuff," right? Well, there's nobody in a university now that knows this stuff enough to teach it to you.
Right,
You
because
know?
it's so new.
Yeah, and so of
Yep.
course, well, don't go to YouTube, blah blah blah. And like, no, you got to go to YouTube. Type in Dave Espino at YouTube AI and go to your AI channel and start watching that, and start learning about how to use this software, because this is absolutely going to revolutionize the world, like
It's going to change the
having a
game.
website revolutionized the world.
Absolutely. I could just imagine creating an extremely helpful GPT for local businesses, small businesses, and then just selling that like crazy because you created this incredibly helpful tool for them. And it could be in any range of things. It could be in accounting, or it could be in marketing, or it could be in client acquisition, business development, whatever it is. You make this super helpful tool, but the cool thing is, all you had to do was have the idea. You didn't have to know how to do it. You didn't have to know how to build it.
So
Is
that brings us
crazy.
back to real estate, and then I'm going to ask you a question about accounting, because what we're really doing here is just hopefully giving you some ideas, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
I know a lot of real estate investors. So what's the problem that real estate investors have is, if I buy this house at this price, how much am I going to have to spend to fix it up? And will there
Right.
be a profit at the end, right? So if you bought a house for 200,000 and you spent 100,000 to fix it up, and you can only sell it for 250,000, you lost 50 grand, right?
Right.
And that's an issue that they have. So I'm thinking like, it would be interesting to make a Chat GPT, because I mean, the thing is to figure it all out yourself. Like this, for example, let's just say we bought a house. You and I, we're going to be investors, first time buying houses. We don't know what we're doing. We buy a $200,000 house, and it needs to be fixed up, and we have no clue, right? So
Right.
we're looking at it and we're thinking, well, it's so many square feet, and it's going to need a new paint job. So how much paint is that? I have no clue how to even figure that out. But our little Chat GPT guy says, oh, it's 1,275 square feet. And it's 3 bedrooms and the kitchen and the dining room with a wall. Or you give it the blueprint,
Right.
and it says, okay, that's going to be $600 worth of paint.
Amazing.
It needs a new roof. And you take a picture of the roof, or you do the dimensions of the roof or in the slant and everything. And it says, okay, well, that's going to be, $20,000 for a new roof.
Right.
And all of a sudden, there's a foundation problem. Take some pictures and upload it. And it says, well, there's $50,000 for your foundation. So you're now up to, if nothing else needs to be done, you're making $2,000 profit. Well, no. But I mean, to be able to do that, because I know they have these formulas and they have ways that they do it, and I'm sure they have no idea.
Right.
Like, one of the first applications of what we're really talking about occurred in the grocery industry. They computerized the scheduling. So these people would manually schedule, cashier's going to start at 4, right? And another one will start at 5, and and they would work in the evening. And that was done just by, I don't know, they just thought, right?
Yeah.
So then they said, well, we're going to get their computer to do it, because it watches the sales patterns, right? Which we don't have access to as managers of a grocery store. So at 3:45, lineups started happening, and we would be panicking. Oh no, we got to get cashiers, get clerks up to the front. But then 2 cashiers started right then, and they went out, and the lines disappeared. And it was amazing. So, and that was just taking one factor.
Right.
right?
Right.
Sales, and saying, well, this, if your sales are starting to go up at 350, 345, you need to have another cashier. Come on.
Mhm.
Great idea, except we didn't know that's what was happening because we only saw the daily sales, or
Right.
we saw the hourly sales. We didn't see the minute sales, right?
Yeah.
And yeah,
Now I'm thinking of a use case also for something like this, because I teach people how to create online courses, and I've got this master class, I guess that's the best way to put it, that has about 24 hours of content in it. Okay. All about
wow,
the online course business. And imagine if I transcribe all that, put it into PDF, upload it to ChatGPT, because ChatGPT can now handle, another big announcement yesterday, can now handle a much larger volume of content that you upload to it. And now you say, use all this information and create Dave GPT, basically. Like,
right,
you have my whole brain, all my experience about online courses, and then create a step-by-step plan for somebody who wants to create a course, and then a step-by-step plan for marketing that course based on this data, all this information, right? So now you've got, not only do I have this master class that I can sell, but I can give them access to this GPT also as part of the
mhm,
deal,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
Which is like having me coaching them there
right,
and answering any questions they might have about the content as if I'm there,
right.
which is really amazing. Like, that's a whole nother level of duplication of yourself, where a course was a really amazing way to duplicate yourself. Now you got this GPT that can answer, even give, some of the personal stories that I have of how I learned something.
Blows my mind that like you don't need anything else.
Yeah, like you would imagine. Well, I mean, it wasn't that long ago. You would have needed some kind of terabyte, giant room of computers to
Right.
do something like what they're doing now, which is amazing, just amazing to me.
That's incredible. Okay, so let's talk about accounting.
Okay.
So if I just said to my GPT accountant, right?
Yep.
If I scanned in all my invoices and all that stuff, like
Mm,
or I just downloaded a CSV file from my
wow.
bank. Like, I mean, however it is
Yep.
here's my American Express statements, here's my bank statements. Here, I don't know that you need anything else. You
Here's
might
all
get
my stuff.
and just like figure it out, right?
Yeah.
It might come back with, well, we don't know what this is, or we don't know what that
Or
is.
here's a US tax code.
And here's the US
Have at
tax
it.
code. And make sure you do it so I pay the least amount of taxes legally.
Exactly.
And then at the end, give me a strategy so that I can work this strategy and minimize
Throughout
my
the
taxes,
year. Yeah.
right? Because it'll probably say, well, you did this wrong, you did that wrong, you should have done
Hmm.
this, you should have done that. you know Now you're going to have to, if it's business, like you have your business accounts and you got to have your personal accounts.
Yep.
But i mean you hear stories where the bookkeepers or the accountants, they just fill it all out. They're not really strategic and they're not really looking for, and if you can just take it all and just say, okay, here's you have the information, right? Because you have to do it anyway.
Right.
So even if you just took your tax return that the government sends you after it's looked at it,
Hmm.
put that in and said, okay, like where did I screw up?
Yep.
Or can you save me 50% on my taxes? Like whatever. I don't know how you would say it.
Yeah. You might even say, can you diagnose this or analyze this and see if there's any way I can save more on taxes in an amended return, like
Right.
next year?
Right. Well, and
Um,
also if you find something, you can always just say, here, look at this and look at that.
right.
And oftentimes, I think there's a year or two or three or whatever where you can go back and review your tax return. pay at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And then come up with a strategy so that, you know, if you see things that I'm doing that I should be doing a different way, blah, 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 right? And it could
Yeah.
say, well, you made a trip to Florida and took this course that's related to your business and you didn't deduct it. That should have gone on your business.
Right.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay.
That's
Or
like it's a turbocharged, what is that tax program?
TurboTax.
Yeah, it's a turbocharged TurboTax.
Right?
Supercharged. We could call it supercharged
Or
tax.
super turbo. I can't say it.
So yeah,
So,
amazing stuff that's happening. Just
right.
amazing.
So let's back off just a second from this. How do we, like, if so someone's just watching this and they're going, okay, I understand this, something big is happening. I don't understand anything about OpenAI or ChatGPT or all this is just like, it's like Microsoft, you know, 25 years ago. Like, what does
Right.
Microsoft mean? Or Google,
Yeah.
you know, like wasn't even existing. So what would your recommendation be to handle the obvious information overload? Not only that's because of this just one thing that we probably should all learn, but also that's going to be coming because this one thing we should all learn is going to absolutely overload us with information.
I would say just begin at the beginning because, you know, I remember when I first started online marketing and I was overwhelmed and I started at the beginning. I was like, well, I need a website. So I bought 2 books because remember, the internet was very, very new. I bought 2 books about front page, Microsoft front page, how to build a website. And I struggled for about a month building my first website. But the point is that when you start at the beginning and just start to immerse yourself in it, you can become an expert at anything pretty quickly, or at least knowledgeable to a high degree so that you're not kind of floundering trying to figure out, you know, what you're up to. And so that would be the first thing. The first thing I would do is I would go to OpenAI. I believe it's openai.com and click on ChatGPT and get into ChatGPT and just start playing around with it. Start asking it questions because it is technically a chat bot, which simply means that it's something you can communicate with. And so think of it like any other chat bot. Ask it questions. It's like a person. It's kind of like a person, really. It's artificial intelligence.
Was, you know, playing around with it. But we do that already. Like we have a phone, right? And we
Yep.
text somebody. But because you know there's somebody on the other side answering, there's a
Right.
disconnect with the chat GPT, right? Because I'm thinking, well, like, how can it answer me? It can't. It's not a person. And that's my paradigm, right? And
Right.
we need to change that to just like when you go into Google and you do a search and it gives you a bunch of answers to pick from. Now
Yep.
you can go into ChatGPT and ask it a question or give it some information and it will do something. So
Right.
if it helps you to pretend that there's actually a little person on the other end
Right.
answering, then do that, right?
Yeah.
Because that was my biggest thing was like, what are you talking about asking it a question or giving it parameters, right? Like the idea that it could be that smart and
Mhm.
understand that well was just really foreign to me, even though
Yeah.
I grew up reading sci-fi, you know, novels that had robots and all sorts of things that were smarter than us in it.
Right.
It's just like here.
And the other advice I would give based on that is to give it as much detail as you can when you're typing in a prompt or a question. Give it as much detail as you can possibly give it because that'll give you a better output, right? Another old term, garbage in, garbage out. So we don't want to give it garbage. We want to give it a really strong prompt. A prompt is what we call the text that you type in, the question that you ask it. But really, if you have difficulty thinking of it as a chatbot, just think of it as a supercomputer that you're communicating with, and which is really what it is. You're really communicating with a supercomputer that has pretty much the entire world's information at its fingertips. And the only difference between this and Google is Google is going to give you websites, right, or videos, sometimes images, depending on what you're searching. But this is scouring the entire internet to give you a very personalized answer. That's why the more detail you can give it in your initial prompt, the better result you're going to get. So that's kind of the idea with ChatGPT. That's how I would just get started with it. But when you first experience ChatGPT, it's going to be interesting for you. It's going to be exciting because you'll see it starting to type all this stuff out. And it does feel like there's somebody on the other side typing an answer to you. And there is, technically, it's just artificially intelligent.
Well, or you could say it's a robotic interface,
right,
with the human content that's been created over the last 10,000 years.
Exactly.
Right.
That's a good way
Because
to
I mean,
put
everything that's in the internet is something that somebody created. So the knowledge had to be created by someone, and that's us at this point,
Yep.
which in a year probably will no longer be the case because it'll be creating its own information.
Right.
Amazing. All right. So you have a course on AI, don't you, Dave?
I do have a course on AI. Actually, I have several courses on AI and different ways to make money with AI. For example, the basics of these courses that we've created is there's already platforms out there that have a lot of traffic, meaning a lot of visitors, a lot of people buying on these platforms. And we find the best-selling products on those platforms, whether digital or physical. And then we use AI to create our products and put them on these platforms. And a lot of these products are digital. They could be AI generated images that you create and you put them on coffee mugs or on cell phone cases or on patterns or on bed covers, any number of things. Or it could be a digital course that you create, and we show you how to create courses, mini courses that you can put on a platform that gets a lot of traffic. But the bottom line is that's the gist of the formula is find a platform that gets a lot of traffic, find their best-selling products, and then use AI to quickly create those products and put them up there. And that way you don't have to deal with traffic. You don't have to create sales funnels. You don't have to buy ads. You don't have to do any of that stuff. All you do is just keep feeding that beast with the products that they're looking for. So those are some of the general ideas of some of the courses that we have right now available.
Cool. And we're going to put some links to those courses in the description below so that you can check them all out. Awesome. Yeah. Well, my mind's been blown. Thank you very much, Dave, for sharing your knowledge as usual.
Absolutely.
And everybody will be around very shortly with some more information about AI. This is kind of like breaking news, and we want to hit it while it's hot and get you the information that you need so you can take advantage of these changes. Because with big change comes big opportunities.
That's right. Absolutely. Huge opportunities right now. I think more millionaires will be made in the next few years than were ever made in the internet marketing years or the days of the internet, and maybe any time in previous history, because technology is moving fast and there's going to be so many more opportunities now for everybody. So either get on the AI train or you're going to get left at the station.
Right. Awesome. See you next time, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
See you guys.